your life. Visit the Hiring Hoosiers job board.
This is RTV6 News at 11, working for you.
Now at 11, thieves targeting a specific neighborhood, and some of the crimes are caught on camera. Can you help catch the culprits? And more fallout from that violent incident between an officer and a teenager. The police chief is openly disputing the account given by the officer. That's straight ahead, but first.
There's a shooting going on in Odessa, Texas. Oh, God, they're shooting right there. Oh, he hits the barrier.
A dramatic eyewitness account as it happened tonight. Another deadly mass shooting shatters a community. Thanks for joining us here at 11 o'clock. I'm Nicole Griffin. Chaos in West Texas earlier tonight. Authorities say it all began when a man being pulled over by state troopers started shooting through the rear window of his car with a rifle. Before it was over, 5 people were dead, at least 21 people injured, including 3 law enforcement officers. More now from ABC's Karina Mitchell.
A chaotic scene in the neighboring Texas cities of Odessa and Midland after law enforcement say a gunman began randomly firing at victims. The suspect eventually shot and killed by police outside a movie theater in Odessa after a massive response from law enforcement.
He is a white male in his mid-30s.
It began with a traffic stop. The suspect then reportedly firing at the officer before driving off. Initially, the Midland Police Department posted to their Facebook page saying, quote, "We believe there are 2 shooters in 2 separate vehicles." The suspect reportedly abandoning his vehicle, then stole a mail truck.
The issue with that was that you had the original vehicle and then you had the mail truck. At one point, we didn't know that that was the same person.
But authorities now believe it was one person.
Once this individual was taken out of the picture, there have been no more victims.
Residents in the area were urged to stay indoors. Students and faculty at nearby University of Texas and Permian Basin advised to shelter in place. This man's boss among those shot.
It's unreal what these guns are doing. People, crazy people, it just blows my mind.
Victims now being treated at 2 area hospitals.
The hospital has staged an area for the families. We have counselors, grief counselors, everybody, social workers with the families right now, trying to provide them support.
Victims now being treated at 2 area hospitals. Among the injured, 3 law enforcement officers. On Twitter, Texas Senators Ted Cruz and John Cornyn also offering their thoughts and prayers, saying they stand with the people in the Midland-Odessa community. Karina Mitchell, ABC News, New York.
Tonight, Metro police officers are investigating a deadly shooting on the west side. Just after 8 o'clock tonight, officers were called to a neighborhood just south of 34th Street near High School Road. They found a 23-year-old man shot on Lupine Drive. That man was taken to the hospital where he died. Police told our photographer on scene they want to speak with 3 people they are calling persons of interest. Those people left the scene after the shooting. If you have any information on who those people are or what happened here, contact Crime Stoppers. That number 317-262-TIPS. Several cars were burglarized in Perry Township and in that neighborhood, and folks living there are hoping surveillance video will force the suspects to face justice. One man tells RTV6 reporter Graham Hunter the break-ins cost him thousands of dollars and hurt his ability to feed his family.
He was getting ready for work Saturday morning, his truck loaded up with tools and lumber, when he realized he'd been targeted by crooks threatening his livelihood. He wasn't the only person in his neighborhood who was victimized.
That's what I make my money with. That's how I feed my family.
Monty Nunn is an independent contractor and was doing what every good family man does.
I had everything ready in my truck to go to work this morning, come outside, open the door, and stuff scattered across my seat.
Getting ready to go earn a living to feed 4 hungry kids.
Always going through the kitchen, so I got to be able to put food in the house.
But someone broke into his truck.
They got my miter saw, got my sawzall, a couple chop saws, a drill, some cash from a client, so got quite a bit of stuff.
After realizing what happened, Nunn started talking to neighbors.
There's about 8 people in the neighborhood so far that we know of that have gotten stuff, snacked out of their car.
and found some of the activity was captured on surveillance camera. A kid's wrestling gear was stolen from one home, and you can see several people going through cars, spending a few minutes without worry that someone may come out and catch them in the act.
Wait a minute, we've been ransacked.
2 of Kathy Bashir's vehicles were broken into.
Out of the car, they took the Vera Bradley tote. That's a crime right there.
The break-ins happened in an area patrolled by IMPD, but a spokesman from Southport Police says people must lock their car doors and take garage door openers inside, and to never leave valuables in your car.
If you are out there listening to this, you do have a whole life ahead of you. Stop what you're doing.
Bashir's wants the criminals to turn things around before they damage more lives, including their own.
See yourself down the road 3 years. And where will you be at this point? Jail or educating yourself? Make the right decision.
Working for you in Perry Township, Graham Hunter, RTV6.
Graham, thank you. New developments tonight. A Metro police officer is now suspended without pay after a violent confrontation with a high school student. Cell phone video shows the officer hitting a student outside of Shortridge High School Thursday afternoon. Police were responding to a report of a disturbance at the school. The officer says he used a technique called an open palm strike because he feared the student was going to hit him. But in a statement released today, IMPD Chief Brian Roach seems to dispute the officer's version. Chief Roach says, quote, the video shows a clear image of a closed fist punch to the face, a technique which is not taught or reasonable given the facts known to us at this time. The incident has been turned over to investigators who understand this case is a priority and have been advised to be as timely as possible, end quote. Let's now get a check of your Storm Team 6 forecast with meteorologist Todd Clausen.
Yeah, Nicole, we started off today with some thunderstorms across the area. Then just kind of a lot of clouds around throughout the day today. We still have a few lingering showers this evening here off on the eastern side of the state from Muncie to Newcastle over into the Winchester area. But again, they're very, very spotty. They're very, very light into the south. There's not much going on at all. But more showers are off to our west. And some of these will stream through here during the course of the overnight hours. Nothing heavy, but there could be a few light raindrops here making their way through the area at times all the way into tomorrow morning. The better chance of rain is going to come throughout the afternoon and early evening hours tomorrow, as a few thunderstorms are likely to develop across the area. Temperatures right now are in the 60s. As you wake up tomorrow morning, we are in the 60s, eventually 72 degrees by the noon hour as the storms build in. We'll talk more about them coming up in just a few minutes.
Todd, thank you. Hurricane Dorian is now nearly a Category 5. Its path shifted slightly north, putting Georgia and the Carolinas in its direct path. The potentially extremely dangerous hurricane is heading to the Bahamas right now, likely to make landfall on Sunday. ABC's Megan Tevrizian is in Daytona Beach with the very latest.
Tonight, residents in the Bahamas bracing for a near-direct hit of Hurricane Dorian. Forecasters predicting winds at least as high as 145 miles per hour and a storm surge up to 15 feet. The Bahamian Prime Minister urging all residents to seek higher ground.
I beg and plead with you to leave the Keys and move to the mainlands.
Florida, for now, seemingly out of Dorian's direct path.
Floridians on the East Coast need to be prepared. If you have a plan, stick to your plan. If you haven't made preparations, please do so.
But the Sunshine State still in line for a significant storm surge.
Places like Home Depot remain busy. People getting ready as they wait to see where Dorian hits.
You never really know till it comes, so you just prepare for the worst, hope for the best.
Dorian now heading north, putting Georgia and the Carolinas at risk for significant damage.
We want to ensure that there's no lost lives or casualties as a part of this storm or any storm coming in. So when an evacuation isn't announced and you're in an evacuation zone, it would be very prudent to leave.
Megan Tevrizian, ABC News, Daytona Beach, Florida.
Megan, thank you. As Hurricane Dorian continues to grow stronger, Hoosiers are stepping up to help. The American Red Cross is sending volunteers from Indiana to several different states to be on standby. A total of 11 volunteers from Indiana are responding. We were there today as the volunteers were prepping their emergency response vehicle. Some of the volunteers will be staging in Montgomery, Alabama, and waiting for their assignment once the storm hits.
Our goal, obviously, is to bring comfort and hope and get them into shelters if that's what's needed, get them food if that's what's needed, get them cleaning supplies. Whatever is needed, we provide either ourselves or we hook them up with other services that will also provide help. And that's the best we can do.
The Red Cross is continuing to monitor the situation and seeing if more volunteers will be needed. Crews from IPL are on their way to Florida. They left this morning and will be helping Tampa Electric with power restoration after the storm moves through. Duke Energy crews are also heading south. Line workers and vegetation workers are staging in Georgia while they wait on the call to deploy to the Carolinas or Florida. Indiana Michigan Power also sent more than 350 crews to Florida to help with restoration efforts. And tonight, 80 Indiana Task Force 1 members and 6 contractors are also answering the call to help. The team arrived safely tonight in Florida. Right now, they are also waiting for their next orders. In a Facebook post, leaders with that group say they are privileged to be able to serve. Tomorrow is officially the big day. The Indigo Red Line opens for use. The electric buses on the rapid transit line will run 13 miles through the heart of Indianapolis. It serves riders traveling from Broad Ripple all the way down to the University of Indianapolis. This is the first rapid transit line for Indigo and the city of Indianapolis. A Red Line bus will arrive every 10 minutes at boarding platforms during the week and up to 20 minutes on the weekends. That is why it's called rapid transit. If you want to try it out, the Red Line is free during the entire month of September. A youth development organization that helps teach kids cooperation and leadership skills is gearing up this weekend for a big event on Labor Day. They are finishing up training over at Freewheeling Community Bikes for Nancy's Ride on Monday. The second annual ride is in honor of the group's founder, Nancy Stimson, who believed there needed to be a youth bike program in our community. The ride benefits Freewheeling Community Bikes, where through their Earn a Bike program, kids not only take away skills they will need to be successful in life, but they also earn a bike that they've worked on throughout their time. Nancy's Ride marks the end of the group's summer riding program, where they train all summer long to be able to ride 100 miles.
Training is not as hard as most people would expect. Mostly we'll just go and ride maybe 20 miles in the weekend, and we'll ramp it up until we ride the 100.
It's different than the usual bike rides because this is a more urban bike ride. It's designed to let people see their city. Most people who rode it last year came back and said, I lived here all my life and went to places I'd never seen before.
Well, you can still register to take part in Nancy's Ride. There are much shorter distance rides for families to take part in. Registration runs from 7 to 9:30 Monday morning at 34th and Central. Coming up, a local couple's home riddled with bullets. They say it was a hate crime. Now a group with some national influence is supporting their claim. You're watching RTV6 News at 11.
36 months, I'm Morano.
This is RTV6 News at 11, working for you.
Bedford police are looking for a man who's been missing for more than 3 weeks. Brian Blomquist was last seen running away from his car on August 6th near 22nd and G Streets in Bedford. His family reported him missing a few days later on August 13th. Police have walked and used drones to search the area he was last seen. Blomquist's family says he may have some medical issues. Anyone with information on the whereabouts of Blomquist is asked to call Bedford police at 812-275-3311. A national organization is calling for a hate crime investigation into shots fired at a Southside home. The victim says his home was riddled with at least 14 bullets early Thursday morning. He says this is not the only time he and his wife have been targeted. Last fall, their yard sign that says "We Stand with American Muslims" was damaged. And on several occasions, he says people have thrown objects at him as he cuts his grass and also have yelled the N-word at him. Today, the Council on American Islamic Relations called on local law enforcement to investigate this as a hate crime. The group released a statement saying, quote, "There is a toxic atmosphere of othering promoted by our nation's top elected and public officials that often leads to individuals to act on their biases. Because of this, we urge local, state, and federal law enforcement authorities to treat these incidents as possibly bias-motivated attacks." Indiana's new hate crime law includes aggravated sentencing for bias-motivated crimes, meaning judges can impose harsher sentences for crimes proven to be motivated by a bias. The law covers color, creed, disability, national origin, race, religion, and sexual orientation. Well, real-life Harry Potter wizards united today in Indianapolis at the White River State Park for the first ever fan festival. If you notice thousands of people looking down at their phones today at the park, well, this is why. They were playing a popular augmented reality game called Harry Potter Wizards Unite. The players are placed in the center of their own adventure where they get to engage in the wizarding world. And there was a special opportunity that was only available for them this weekend here in Indy.
There's 4 dragons, and today we can catch them all. After today, we'll only be able to catch one unless you're, depending on what part of the world you're in. So that's why everyone's here looking for these dragons today.
The White River State Parks Development Commission says they are thrilled to know the game's creators believe the White River State Park and the city of Indianapolis were the perfect backdrop for this highly anticipated event. The fun continues tomorrow from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. General admission tickets are $30. And Todd, they had some decent weather for that event today.
Yeah, you know, there was a few thunderstorms earlier this morning, but they were very, very spotty. One did go through downtown, but yeah, then the rest of the day, it was just kind of cloudy and a little on the cool side with that breeze. And there's a live look for you right now in downtown Indianapolis. We're going to start with Dorian here. The new update just came in at 11 o'clock. Still a Category 4 storm, but as you see here on our tropical satellite picture, it's a very symmetrical storm. Not only the storm as a whole, but the eye as well. And when you see a symmetrical storm like that, it means it's full of strength and showing no signs of weakening. Here are the Bahamas, and then here's Florida off to the west. It has winds sustained at 150 miles per hour, and it's just moving very, very slowly west at about 8 miles per hour. And so it's going to kind of stall over the Bahamas, which is not good news for them. But then the track of the storm takes it towards Florida, but it's continuing now to start to curve up to the north. There's an area of high pressure out in the Atlantic that's keeping it from moving to the north, but as that high slides off towards the east as we go into the latter half of the weekend and eventually into early next week, it's going to curve up, and then it kind of gets to the Charleston, South Carolina coast and scoots out to sea. So this track would be very, very good for the United States. Yes, the coast would get pounded with the storm surge and some tropical storm force winds, but we would be spared a direct hit from Dorian. But of course, that track can change sometimes when these storms go over land, as it will the Bahamas. They can kind of jog a little bit in one direction. 69 right now in Indy, as well as Bloomington, 68 in Muncie. We have a few isolated rain showers out there, especially in northern locations. And as we expand out, you notice more showers up towards Chicago. So there will be the chance of a few spotty showers here overnight tonight, but no thunderstorms are expected. However, throughout the day tomorrow, here's your Sunday forecast. Storms will start to build in as the day goes on with a high temperature right around 80 degrees. So tomorrow morning, mostly cloudy skies, a spot shower or two, and then throughout the afternoon hours, we'll see some storms start to blossom. Not expecting any severe weather, but some lightning and some heavy downpours will accompany these storms as they move through. And then by tomorrow evening, we'll see the showers start to diminish across the area. And that's going to set us up for what should be a very, very nice Labor Day for us. So tomorrow, potentially the wettest day of this extended holiday weekend. But Labor Day looks great, starting off at 74 degrees at 10 a.m., 4 p.m., 85 degrees with a mixture of sun and clouds. So we get the sunshine back on Monday as we head into Tuesday, near 90 degrees for your high temperature. And then once that cold front goes through with some thunderstorms Tuesday night into Wednesday, look at those temperatures as we get to the middle to end of next week. Highs back into the 70s with lows, Nicole, that will be in the 50s.
And hopefully some sunshine.
Yeah, you know, tomorrow probably not the brightest day for us, but Monday's the day as far as the holiday weekend goes with the most sunshine for us.
All right, Todd, thank you. Well, starting tomorrow, Indiana is in the game. We've told you how you'll be able to legally bet on sporting events in the Hoosier State. Up next, a deeper dive into what this option really means.
Ashley Home Store. This is home.
Week 1 of the college football season kicked off right here in Indianapolis as the Ball State Cardinals hosted the Indiana Hoosiers in the kickoff classic at Lucas Oil Stadium. Quarterback Michael Penix Jr. connects with Nick Westbrook, as you're about to see here, for a 75-yard touchdown. Well, Ball State would answer back. Caleb Huntley would take it in for 1 yard out with the touchdown. But in the second half, the Hoosiers' Stevie Scott III with the 4-yard run for the touchdown, as you're seeing right here. Indiana got the win over the Ball State Cardinals 34-24. The field is set for the IndyCar race tomorrow at Portland International Raceway. Colton Herta bumped Will Power from the pole as the qualifying session came to a close. He talked to Our Day First after clinching the spot.
Back in a celebration mode for pole position, Colton Herta after a Road America pole a couple months ago back in. This is like old hat for you. This is, you know, the routine now. This is no big deal.
I don't get used to it, but it's nice when it happens. No, it's been awesome day. You know, I think we led practice 3. We did lead practice 3, and then we got the pole. And I'm a bit in shock right now because it wasn't like Road America where we were dominant and it looked like we had it the whole time.
Have you noticed when you come to a racetrack, maybe something just triggers, something just feels right about a certain place that you go to week in and week out?
Yeah, I think.
And is this one of them?
You can tell, like, after the first session when you kind of gel with the track.
Yeah.
Felt that way at Road America. We were on the pace right away. Also felt that way a lot of places, Mid-Ohio, Coda, where you kind of just gel with the track. And it seems like permanent road courses, for me, most of the permanent road courses we have, the fast-flowing tracks, kind of suit my driving style and helps me out a lot. So, yeah, I guess you could say that this is a place that I came to, and obviously this is also the first place I had my first IndyCar test as well.
Right.
So, you know, it has double positives for me.
I appreciate this because you got a lot going on in the periphery right now, but what's going to happen next year, where you're going to be or whatever, you put that out of your mind and just do your thing, and here you are in pole position. So.
Yeah, I mean, I got to do everything I can for my team, and obviously they're giving me fast race cars, and it makes it easier for me, you know. So, yeah, they've done a great job this year. Whether I stay, whether I go, what happens, I always love working with them, and yeah, they've done a fantastic job this far. Hopefully we have another good race tomorrow, and hopefully we can keep up front and then finish it off with a good finish at Laguna as well, and then we'll see where I end up.
And that looks good.
Thank you.
P1.
Yeah, it does. It
Colton Herta.
Nicely, doesn't it?
Second time this season. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And rounding out the top 5 qualifiers, Will Power at 2nd, Scott Dixon at 3rd, number 4, Jack Harvey, and Felix Rosenquist at number 5. Well, as we head into the college football and NFL season, fans across the country will now be able to do something for the first time, legally betting on games. Indiana is the latest state making it a reality tomorrow. Corey Rangel has a look at the growing number of places starting to allow legal sports betting.
Yep. Lou's Sports Bar in D.C. is getting ready for a busy weekend as football season gets underway. Manager Mark Hellewell is working on a new way to bring in more customers, legal sports betting.
We're trying to do everything we can to create interest. If we can turn this place into a little Caesar's Palace on Saturdays and Sundays, so people don't have to go to Vegas.
He applied for a license that will allow customers to bet on games inside his bar and just posted the permit.
Put it up last night, and it has to stay up for 30 days before our hearing. Our hearing's on October.
Legalized sports betting is quickly moving across the country. In addition to D.C., these other states either already have sports betting or it will become legal when new laws take effect over the next several months.
Right now, there are only 8 states that haven't either legalized sports gambling or don't have a bill to legalize sports gambling.
George Calhoun is one of the attorneys who helped convince the U.S. Supreme Court last year to allow states other than Nevada to legalize sports betting, which he says will help protect gamblers.
They know they're doing something that's legal. They're going to get the protection of, if they have a problem, they're going to have access to the courts and to law enforcement, and they're going to have certainty that if they win a bet, they're going to get paid.
According to the American Gaming Association, in the states that now allow sports betting, gamblers have wagered more than $10 billion since it became legal. In Washington, D.C., I'm Corey Rangel reporting.
6 months on Nissan Road.
Labor Day weekend means thousands gather on Georgia Street downtown for Indy Labor Fest. The free event is a chance for people to connect with employers and learn more about career opportunities in Central Indiana. It's put on by the Hoosier Heartland Area Labor Federation. The street festival included music, food, beverages, and a good kids zone.
All right, be on the lookout tomorrow afternoon for some isolated storms with highs in the 80s.
All right, Todd, thank you, and thank you for joining us. Have a great night.